Today, we're in Sardinia, an island off the coast of Italy where we're getting to ride Ducati's new DesertX motorcycle. This is going to usher in a new era of adventure bikes for Ducati. You have a 21-inch wheel up front, an 18-inch wheel out back, as well as a dedicated engine tune, gearbox, long travel suspension, and a sophisticated suite of riders' electronics, all with a starting price of $16,795. So the question remains, does this bike live up to the hype? And how is this bike going to measure up against the current crop of adventure bikes out there? This is a segment of motorcycles that's becoming increasingly competitive with easy to ride, approachable machines. When the original DesertX concept bike debuted at EICMA in 2019, it was met with massive fanfare from ADV riders around the world. Riders who were excited by its handsome looks, which harkened back to vintage rally racers. For this production version, Ducati ended up using a 937cc Testastrada V-twin, which is found in the Monster and the Multistrada V2. With a unique tune exclusive to the DesertX, this bike claims 110 horsepower and 68 foot-pounds of torque. The DesertX also features a sophisticated electronics suite controlled through a 5-inch TFT dash, which allows the rider to choose between 6 different ride modes, all of which can be customized for power levels, ABS, traction control, wheelie control, engine braking, and throttle response. Throw in cruise control and a 5.5 gallon tank, and you're well on your way to the long way up, around, or down.
The one thing I really like about this motorcycle is the engine and the brakes. From about 4,000 RPM up to about 10,000 RPM, the engine is just absolutely lovely. Power delivery is completely linear, and the fueling is spot on. I'm 6'3", and I was really afraid that the cockpit was going to feel too compact and restrictive, but I've got a great reach to the bar. The seat allows me to move forward, backwards, hang off the bike a little bit. I'm not getting any pressure on my chest. I'm not getting any buffeting at my helmet. I can really tour on this motorcycle. Just keep in mind that windscreen, however, is not adjustable. So if you are taller than me or shorter than me, your results may vary.
My only real on-road complaint was with the quick shifter. It worked great 99% of the time, but every now and then I found it to have a clunky upshift. This was especially surprising because the auto blip downshifts worked flawlessly. But aside from that, the handling was light and direct, the power addicting, and even the dirt-oriented tires worked well on the pavement. Of course, I had no intention of staying on the pavement.
Did not survive the jump. So the off-road riding here in Sardinia has been very scenic. It's kind of hard to focus on the road because there's so much to look at. And most of the terrain has been like this, hard packed dirt with a little loose sand and gravel on top. So traction has been a little bit sketchy at times. One of the things that I really liked about the DesertX from the get-go is the ergonomics are very approachable for riding off-road, a very easy bike to stand up on. It wears its weight very well. The bike feels balanced.
I thought that the DesertX felt nimble and easy to control off-road. And I'm saying that as the owner of a KTM 890 Adventure R, which weighs some 30 pounds less. Now, part of that control comes from the extensive electronics package. Rally mode was certainly the most fun with full power, off-road ABS, and limited traction control. But every ride mode is fully customizable to suit your terrain or riding style. And switching between ride modes can be done on the fly. It's honestly one of the most advanced packages we've seen on an adventure bike to date. It also makes for a pretty capable machine off-road. So far, we're about halfway through the ride, and it's been a great mix of some hard-packed dirt roads as well as some really great curvy street riding. The engine's been amazing, the brakes, the ergonomics, the electronics suite it's so much to try and soak in. Frankly, it's a really impressive motorcycle. The only thing that's really not jiving so far with me from an off-road perspective is the suspension. On the street, it's perfect. It locks into a line and it handles kind of like a big, tall, sporty bike. But off-road, I'm finding the suspension to be a bit harsh. So there's some mechanics here at lunch. I'm gonna have them take a look at it, and we're gonna see if we can't get them to adjust this for someone a bit more American-sized. Suspension adjustment can be tricky enough when you're doing it at home in a language you can actually speak. But the Ducati mechanics kindly worked through the communication barrier to help me dial things in. With the little time we had, we added preload and took out some rebound damping from the fork, and the harshness improved. But we simply ran out of time over lunch to go much further. There seems to be even more room for improvement with all the available adjustment on this suspension. Something we'll have to experiment with once we get these bikes back in the United States later this summer. So we started this review with two questions. Does the DesertX live up to the hype? And how does it fare against the current crop of middleweight adventure bikes? We had 2 full days riding this motorcycle, and we're just now beginning to scratch the surface of all the different adjustments you can make. But the fundamentals for off-road riding are baked into this bike. It doesn't feel as off-road capable as something like a KTM 890 Adventure R. It's not as on-road comfortable as something like a BMW R1250 GS. And it's not as simple, light, or affordable as something like a Yamaha Tenere 700. But it is very off-road capable. It's far better on the street than I was expecting, and it is darn good looking. Plus, it has some legitimately cool accessories we didn't even get to test, like the 2-gallon auxiliary fuel tank that mounts to the subframe. So, depending on how deep your pockets are, what you want out of an adventure bike, and how much time you have to dial everything in, the unique thing about the DesertX is that it can kind of compete with anything. But if you could tell by the setting sun, time is one thing that I am out of. So if you want more information about this bike, make sure you head over to Common Tread where you can read my full first ride review about the bike and my time in Italy. And as always, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube to keep up with all the video content we have rolling out at RevZilla.com. Thank you for joining us for this first ride review of Ducati's brand new DesertX. I'm Spurge. Enjoy the ride.